That would be Ron.
Okay, so Ron, just let us know when we can start the meeting. That would be great. And good evening, everyone. This is the regular meeting of the Milpitas Energy and Environmental Sustainability Commission. Today is Wednesday, March 16th, 2022. And I'd like to welcome everyone to the meeting. We'll go ahead and get started with a call to order and the Pledge of Allegiance. So please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Great, thank you. All right, can we have a roll call of the commission, please?
Yes, I'll start that right now. Has Commissioner Lingle joined yet? I'm not seeing him. Commissioner Martinez?
Here.
Thank you. Commissioner Salian?
Aye.
Chair Sexton?
Here.
Commissioner Vishkash Venkatarama?
Right here.
Thank you. And then alternate Commissioner Hogg is not able to join us. He had dental surgery this afternoon and is resting.
Okay, great. So Commissioner Lingle is just sent a text message that says he's here but listed as a guest. So Linda, would you be able to change him to be a
Panelist. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes,
one
a
second. I have to
panelist.
stop sharing. Oh, I think Ron just did it. Okay, great.
All right.
Thanks, Ron.
Okay, welcome Commissioner Lingle.
Thank you.
Oh, and then Council Member Chu is also present. Yeah.
Great. All right. Well, we have a quorum, so that's great. Let's go ahead and continue on. We don't have any alternates to seat today. So let's look at today's agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve the agenda that was distributed last Friday by Elaine?
Aye.
Commissioner Salian, if you'd like to make the motion, thank you. Do I hear a second?
I second.
Thank you. That was Commissioner Venkash.
Yep.
Great, thank you. Or sorry, Venkat. Okay, and Elaine, would you like to take the roll call vote?
Oh, sure. Yes. So please vote when I call your name to approve the the agenda for the March 16th meeting tonight. Commissioner Lingle,
Aye.
Commissioner Martinez,
Aye.
Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vishkash.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Thanks very much. And so now we can actually start on the agenda.
I'm sorry, Chair Sexton, we do have to approve the previous
yes,
meeting
the minutes from last month's meeting. Okay, do I hear a motion to approve the minutes as they were written and distributed last Friday? Would anyone like to make the motion?
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Salian. Do I hear a second to that motion?
Second, aye.
Thank you, Commissioner Martinez. And
Great.
Elaine, could you do a roll call vote on that?
Yes, my pleasure. So I'll go through that again. Commissioner Lingle,
Aye.
Commissioner Martinez,
Aye.
thank you. Commissioner Salian,
Aye.
Chair Sexton,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vishkash.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Motion passes. And do we have anyone that would like to speak at the public forum now?
We do have a hand raised from Felix, so I'm going to.
I'm sorry, Linda, your voice is a little muffled. It could be my hearing also, sorry.
I said
can you
we
say
do
that
have
again?
one person, Felix, so I'm going to unmute them.
Okay, great.
Hi, Thank you. Thanks for letting me speak. My name is Felix, and I live, well, I guess like all of you, I live in Milpitas, California. I have been lobbying my senators, so Feinstein and Padilla, and congressmen on climate legislation for the last year. And apparently it's stalled. So it's really heartening to see that here in Milpitas, we're able to take some action locally. We're not just waiting for the feds basically to save us and save our children and our grandchildren. My question was, I had a question and a comment. So I filled out the survey for the climate action plan update last year, but I never heard anything back from that. And I looked on the website and I couldn't find any contact information, and I couldn't find the updated climate action plan. So I was wondering if that was still going on or if it was finished, and if it was finished, where I could find it, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Felix. That's a good question. Elaine, would you be able to answer that one?
Yes. So Felix, I'll send you some more information. We are still in the process of finalizing the climate action plan update. We're scheduled to have a study session with the city council to discuss draft strategies and actions in April. And then we'll have a public administrative draft released in the late April, May timeframe for environmental review. And then we're shooting to have the city council approve the updated climate action plan by the end of June of this year. So I will definitely, I've got your email, so I'll let you know when there are opportunities to review and to comment on it, and when it will be before the city council.
I see. Thank you. So the schedule that's currently on the website was saying that it was the final draft was completed or maybe should have been completed in November. So I'm guessing that timeline has changed now.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes, and
great.
That's a great reminder for me to have that website updated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks again for letting me speak.
Thank you very much, Felix, for your question. Okay, Linda, do we have any other public comments?
No, I do not see anyone else with their hand raised right now, but I'll let you know, Chair.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. All right, let's move on to announcements. Do we have any announcements to share with this commission? Councilmember Chua, you have your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to reach out to Mr. Felix that we do have an opening in the Energy and Sustainability Commission, and please apply. It seems like you are very passionate about climate change. So do us too, and please consider applying to the opening for a Energy and Sustainability Commission. We would love to have you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Councilmember Chua. Very good encouragement. That's great.
Chair Sexton, do you want to give a moment to our newest commissioner to introduce himself to you all?
Yes, that would be great. Unfortunately, we don't have enough time for everyone on previous times where we've had new commissioners join us. We've been able to do a round robin. But if you wouldn't mind, Commissioner Venkat, share a few bits about your background and your interest in energy and environmental sustainability.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. So my name is Dikash, and my background is in the renewable industry. I've been in the renewable industry for about close to 15 years now. I started off in R&D, and I've been involved in product management and sales. I presently head the energy storage division for a large battery company. We're involved in multiple projects across the US. We're deploying batteries. So I'm all for renewables, and I've kind of dedicated my career towards that direction. So I'm, very glad to be a part of this commission, and I've enjoyed Milpitas, been a resident here for about 6-7 years now. So happy to contribute as much as possible.
Great. Thank you so much. It's great to have you, and you have a very good background for to be able to participate in our commission. So glad to hear that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we can move on. If we don't have any other announcements this time, we can move on to our business items. Elaine, we've got an update from Silicon Valley Clean Energy. Are we ready for that, or should we
No, I
move
think we're
on?
ready to go. Linda's going to go ahead and promote Don Bray and Tony Yulo. They are both representatives from Silicon Valley Clean Energy. I think the commission is fairly familiar with their organization, but I'm sure that part of their presentation will provide a little bit of background too. Don Bray is with Silicon Valley Clean Energy. He is their Director of Account Services and Customer Service. I'm sorry, Account Services and Community Relations. And Tony Yulo has recently joined Silicon Valley Clean Energy. He is their Senior Manager of Public Sector Programs. Did I get that right, Tony?
Public sector services. And
Services.
I have said programs numerous times myself, so I commiserate with you on the slight error.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Don and Tony, and I know you have a wonderful presentation that's going to be very informative and interesting to our commission.
Yeah, thanks, Elaine, and good evening, everyone. It's really a pleasure to be with you here tonight, and it's great to see familiar faces. Director Chua, so Councilmember Chua, I will refer to as Director Chua because she's on our board of directors at SVCE. Elaine has been a longtime member of what we call our member agency working group. Tony has made various cameos there and has worked with us on reach codes. And Patty has been active lately in our community advocates group and in other conversations that we've been having. And it's great to meet the rest of you. I think this will be a good conversation. I'm going to spin through a number of slides here, which will require me to share my screen and hope that that works. And Tony's going to chime in and provide commentary as we go. And maybe I'll invite you to ask questions too as we go. I know this is supposed to be 15 or 20 minutes, and then we were going to reserve time for questions at the end. But if you have one as we go, sometimes I find that's best to tackle them then while they're in your mind. So let me see if I can get the document up here. Okay. All right. Are you able to see a screen that? Okay.
Yes, it looks good.
Okay, great. That may be the hardest part of this presentation for me. So as you heard, and as I think most of you know, we are the community choice energy agency that serves the city of Milpitas and 12 other local communities here. Our mission is first and foremost to provide clean carbon-free electricity at competitive rates. And an important corollary is to provide innovative decarbonization programs to help our communities fight climate change. This is an interesting and I think visionary development that happened last year. And I think it really can give us a sense for where we're going with our efforts. But last April on the California grid, there was a really significant accomplishment where at 2:30, and I believe this is on a Saturday afternoon, 95% of all electricity on the California grid was coming from clean and carbon-free resources. And April is a special time on the California grid. A lot of hydro is usually running. It isn't too hot yet, so electricity demand isn't really high. It tends to be very sunny. It can be breezy. It's sort of a perfect set of conditions for sort of maximum renewable energy generation. But despite having a grid powered 95% from clean and carbon-free resources, the grid worked just great. And the challenge for us now is really to fill in the rest of the hours of the year with clean carbon-free electricity and to decarbonize away from our fossil fuel uses in transportation and in buildings. But this is doable, and I really think it was great that this was called out in this way by the governor.
Don, do you think that this April we'll be able to break the 95% and get higher, a little bit higher?
I'm a little concerned about the hydro, given where we are right now, but I think this will definitely be a trend in springtime, where we'll see a very high degree of penetration, especially during prime solar hours, and it's continuing to grow, of course, as we add more renewables to the grid in the form of wind and geo and other resources that can be filling in at other times of the day. SVCE, thanks to our customers and in communities such as Milpitas, is able to make long-term commitments to new renewable energy resources. We've now committed over $1.6 billion to new projects, totaling, I think, 13 as of this point, and we have some more coming. I actually went to a ribbon cutting yesterday for one of our latest projects to be actually brought into production. It's over on the left side of your screen, the Slate project. And this is, as of this moment, the largest solar plus storage installation in California. I understand our newest member here is from the storage industry. He'll be pleased to know that there's about 180 megawatt hours of storage associated with SVC's portion of this project. And it's really important that we pair solar with storage, because we need to extend the applicability of that solar energy into other hours of the day, particularly into the evening when the grid peaks. We also have a geo project that's in place, and one that's about to go online later this summer up near Mammoth. We have other solar plus storage projects and a couple of wind projects. In terms of what our electricity mix looks like, this is our 2020 power content label, and there's a bazillion numbers on here, but probably the most important one is in the upper left-hand corner. Our greenhouse gas emissions intensity for our primary default energy product, which is called Green Start, is 7 pounds per megawatt hour, which is virtually carbon-free. That compares to an average on the California grid of 466 pounds, and that's relatively clean by a national standard. So we're doing really well here in our area, and that's all good news. But we have a long way to go when it comes to decarbonizing transportation and the built environment. We are offering this product at a discount. I'll talk about what that means in absolute financial terms. But our customers are saving money with this Green Start product relative to what they would have been paying PG&E. These are some results as it relates to Milpitas. So a reduction of about 96% in electricity-related emissions from what would have been coming from the investor-owned utility. Customers in Milpitas who have solar and who generate a surplus each year received about $135,000 in total in payments. Customers saved over $1.2 million last year with SVCE versus what they would have paid PG&E. And you have about 28,600 households and businesses receiving electricity from us. I think one of your questions in the tee-up for this was participation. Our average participation rate across all our communities is, I think it's 96.4%. And most of our communities are right near that average. So in round numbers, you're at 96% participation, which is terrific. Any questions on this before I move on? You've saved nearly 12 million since you joined SVCE. Last year's savings were a little lower because your discount was a little, our discount to our customers was a little lower last year, and will be for a portion of this year due to some energy prices going on between PG&E and the grid. We do hope to continue to. We will always offer a discount, and we hope to increase that discount in the coming years. So as I mentioned, we're doing pretty well when it relates to emissions from the grid, but we still have a lot to tackle in terms of transportation and buildings and industrial sources. And I know most of you are pretty familiar with this. Our programs that we're launching for decarbonization are focusing heavily on transportation and on buildings. What can we do to continue to drive more of our customers towards electric vehicles and towards electrification in their homes and businesses? We have a target across SVCE and our 13 communities to reduce energy-related emissions by, we've already achieved this target by 30% in 2021 relative to 2015. And we actually reached that last year. And again, a lot of that was from reducing the carbon content in electricity. But we want to continue to advance that 40% from 2015 by 2025 and 50% from 2015 by 2030. And we're tracking pretty well against this, but the lift is getting heavier because we really have to start making these, making inroads in terms of additional vehicle electrification and building electrification. Any questions on here? I want to leave a little room for questions as we go.
Yes, Don, could you talk a little bit about the transportation initiatives? I've heard about additional EV charging to make that more accessible, but are there other programs to assist residents to purchase or change out their gas vehicles to electric vehicles?
Good question, and a segue question. I think I have a few slides here that will speak to that as we go.
Before we leave this slide, I think it's just important to point out that of that buildings component, most of that, the vast majority of that, is associated with the building's use of methane gas.
Yes.
The emissions from the electricity have largely been wrung out of the system at this point.
Yeah, so gas used for water heating and for space heating. And one of the interesting things I've learned over the last few years here is that in homes, water heating is the largest single source of emissions related to gas. And you wouldn't necessarily look at your water heater and think, boy, that's something that's polluting like my car might, but it does pump out a lot of carbon emissions in a year, and you're heating water year round, whereas you're typically doing space heating mainly through the winter.
Let's see, if I can speak on this one. I am trying to participate in your rebate program or your discount program with regards to changing over to the water heater, electric water heater, and I'm having some real trouble with regards to my limits in the the master panel. I'm waiting for the 15 amp water heaters to start to come mainstream. They're not quite there yet. Otherwise, it's really going to be expensive to make the changeover. So, but thank you for the the discounts. I really appreciate that. Let's see. I do have a question on this. I don't know if you're, this is the what year is this? Is this a recent depiction of the the portion of GHG contributions?
Yes, it's going to be at or near 2020. And just because we usually have these numbers about a year after they've actually, after we have the data. But yeah, it's fairly current. And this is across all of our communities combined. So Milpitas could look a little bit different, but it's going to be close, I would guess.
And do you have an estimate of what is going on? Which sectors are changing most? It would be great to see a time lapse of this. Getting down from getting back down to the 2015 levels. Do we have an estimate of what's contributing to that decrease?
Great idea, by the way. Tony, you and I might take that one away, but a time-lapse view of this, especially, we have different versions of this chart that show more specifically emissions from electricity, say as part of buildings or as part of industry. Right now, we've just lumped it together. But yes, if we had such a chart, a time lapse, you would see emissions related to electricity diminishing significantly, and that's where a lot of the savings are coming from. But we are seeing savings in passenger vehicles for sure. So and that's due to higher fuel efficiency and certainly due to electric vehicles, which are starting to make a dent. So those, even though they're big, they are starting to move in the right direction. The real issue, as Tony mentioned earlier, is natural gas, or methane gas, as we refer to it now, used in buildings. It's continuing to go up, and it's really going to be challenging to get that turned around. So, good idea on the time lapse.
Sure.
It could be very instructional.
Thank you.
I have a question over here.
Yep.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, my question is, I was shopping around for this tankless water heaters, and I intended to get the electric one. But when you go around shopping for it, most of them advise you not to go for the electric, but go for the gas. So why is that? Why are the people or the salespeople not encouraging the shoppers to buy the electric one but go for the gas ones?
So the best answer is actually probably the most obscure still at this point, and that's the heat pump water heater. The tankless electric uses quite a bit more energy, to heat the same amount of water than a heat pump water heater would. It's probably by a factor of 3 or more. So if you walked in to a Lowe's or something and you asked for a tankless water heater, they would tell you gas, because that is probably going to save you money over electric. But what's really going to save from an environmental standpoint or emissions wise is a heat pump device. So that would be the best approach. And it's a big challenge making the changeover here. Heat pumps are common in other parts of the world, but they're relatively new to California. So we're having to do a lot of education around that to get people to understand what these are all about. And as one of the other questioners pointed out, there can be issues with that transition, like having enough capacity in your service panel, for instance. So,
Well,
it's a challenge.
No, but why not go for the solar water heater?
As far as I'm familiar, I don't believe that many people are able to completely go solar when it comes to water heating. Most of the solar water heating that you see is for pools, where the need for super hot water is both only at certain times of the day, typically during the day when you're swimming, and also not that hot. You're not expecting it to come out of your faucet at 100 and some degrees. So that's most of the applications that I'm aware of for solar water heating are for pools, not for domestic use. There are people that have a solar assist on their water heater where you have a small solar system that feeds and kind of preheats the water before it goes into a tanked water heater to reduce the energy required by the water heater itself. But if you just had a solar water heater, you would not have hot water at night in particular. So that would be a problem for many people.
No, because back home where I come from, there are so many solar panels popping up on the terraces. So what they are doing is mostly having the water heaters, connected with the solar power, and they say it is a very good thing, very good idea. But yes, I did not think about at night. Maybe they don't take shower at night over there.
Commissioner Vikash.
Yeah, I have an additional question. So in terms of energy independence, right? The fact that, in a grid outage situation, people have the ability to, power up their homes. Are we doing anything to, do distributed storage or distributed solar that would help self-sustain individuals, when there's a grid outage, and provide reassurance of energy independence in that scenario?
Yeah, I'll same answer I gave Patty a few minutes ago. We do have a slide or two in here that speak to incentives that we have around battery storage, and we really advocate for including battery storage with solar, and really want our customers to think about those two things together. And some of you may have been hearing about changes that are coming in the solar net energy metering tariff. These are statewide changes, and these are really going to further encourage storage, or either that or using the solar energy as you produce it, and versus just putting it back on the grid and using the grid as a battery. So really important a point there, and we'd love to have more money to incentivize that. Our incentives are going to look modest, but we're doing our best.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm now going to spin. Sorry.
Before you want to run away from that, there's one more question for you. Now, what do you advise between solar battery pack versus solar generators? Okay, the reason why I'm asking all this thing is I'm in the market of putting up solar, not panel, shingles on my house, and we almost spoke to the people, and most probably by the month end there'll be somebody coming to take care of it. But they were advising to go for the battery pack, which costs about $10,000. So I was looking into a solar powered generators. I believe they also have a battery pack which can last, which storage some of the power in there. So what is your advice on that?
I'm not sure I'm understanding the distinction between a solar generator and a battery.
Battery, yeah, a Tesla battery, because
right.
The people were kind of edging us towards buying a Tesla battery pack, which is about $10,000 a piece. But then there is another person who was advising me, instead of buying $10,000 a piece battery pack, why not you go for a solar generator, which also has a capacity of holding up some power in it?
Yeah, I'm not. Maybe someone else can help me out here, but I'm not familiar with what that product is versus a standalone solar array. But
yeah, I think maybe there was a miscommunication somewhere there, because there's no generators per se that are solar powered unless they have solar panels and a battery. That's what a solar powered generator is.
No, there are solar power generators, and these are in the market for about last 10 years or something. They are in the market.
Yeah, Commissioner Salian,
Yeah.
I think we're going to take your question in specific instance offline and see if we can continue with the presentation at this point.
Sure.
Sorry about that.
No problem.
okay, I will move on from this slide, I think, barring any other questions. All right, so now we'll spin through a number of different program offerings that we have, and they fall into three broad categories: power supply, the built environment, and mobility. I'd say the bulk of our programs that relate to residential customers fall into the built environment and mobility segments. Starting with what we have online, we've got a lot of information and tools online to help customers do different things related to electrification. Firstly, as I mentioned earlier, we really want to encourage people to think about electric vehicles. In terms of an impact an individual can make, it really is one of the biggest things you can do to benefit the environment, especially around here where the electricity is so clean, is to move out of your internal combustion vehicle and into an electric vehicle. So we have a very extensive third-party website that we've partnered with that shows you all the latest models. It can compare the cost of operating a traditional gas-powered vehicle with an electric vehicle, which is very favorable right now given what's happening with gas prices. So lots of great resources there, and we very actively communicate these resources to our customers through email campaigns and the like. We have what we call the Appliances Assistant, and this is a place where you can shop for all electric appliances, and we'll run promotions through here every now and then. We're doing one right now where you can get $50 off an induction cooktop, and we really like people to take a look at what induction cooking is all about, and you can get a very inexpensive $60, $70, $80 induction cooktop, and you get $50 off, and you can experiment with how this technology works. And people have really enjoyed this, and we're starting to see more customers apply these discounts to full size stoves and having people put these into their homes. And then we have a solar plus battery assistant. So this is a concierge service through a third-party company called Electrum. And if you do commit to a solar and battery storage system, you get $1,000 off an electrical panel upgrade if you need one. It's an offer that we make there. This third-party service gets quotes for you. So they'll develop a design for your rooftop and then get third-party quotes from a range of local installers that they work with, and then allow you to pick the one that you think is best. So they really help you with the process of going with solar and storage. We also promote to solar customers to add batteries. So that's another aspect here is once you have solar, if you don't have a battery, think about getting one. So these are online resources. We call it the eHub, and check it out when you have a chance. As you've heard, we have a heat pump water heater retrofit program. It's $2,000 in incentives for heat pump installation. If you're replacing a gas water heater, there's an additional $1,500 credit you can get if you need to upgrade your service panel, because sometimes, as we've heard here, that needs to happen, and that won't necessarily cover the entire cost, but it'll make a dent. So $3,500 available here, and additional funding for Carefera customers. We have a partner that we're working with that has an application, and we've white labeled this application. We call it Grid Shift EV charging. But if you have an EV, and there are, let's see, I think it's integrated currently with Tesla, Volkswagen, Jaguar, Land Rover, and now finally General Motors or Chevrolet. You can have this application help you charge your car at the most opportune times. And you might say, well, you know, I can already program when I have my car charged. This will do it even more dynamically. It'll also look at the grid intensity from a carbon standpoint and help optimize relative to the entire California grid. It keeps track of changes in tariffs and will allow you to leave home in the morning or whenever you need to leave with a full charge at the cheapest and cleanest possible time of charging. We offer a $500 rebate for solar and battery storage implementation through a program called Lights on Silicon Valley. This is a partnership we have with Sunrun, and there's actually some battery control that comes with this, where a portion of the battery can be used if the grid is strained, and that's in part where the rebate comes from. We have a program that we're offering mainly to MUD, which is multifamily developments, I think apartment complexes and the like, and to small businesses, where we will develop a design, actually a few different designs, sort of a low cost design and a higher cost, more extensive design for EV charging. And then there's also assistance in bidding that out and getting quotes. So the idea here is to really help multifamily property owners get started on EV charging. Big issue out there right now with EV charging in an MUD setting.
Absolutely.
Sorry.
Can I sorry to cut you off here, but do you have any statistics of, you know, how this program is going, or all of these programs? Or is there any kind of a trend or an uptake? This one especially is really interesting. I would also like to understand if there's anything we can do on permitting to streamline, to help streamline the installation of these chargers in the apartments.
So I'll tackle part of that, and then Tony can tackle part of that. But so we've been running this program for, I'd say, 6 or 8 months, and I believe we've done 25 or so assessments now. And we're also we have another program that we're about to start that's actually going to provide some additional funding for the properties that have gone through this assessment. So right now we have a few that are in the process of installing because they've found incentive money out there, but we want to make some additional incentive money available in addition to the design work that we're doing. We've reached out to, I would say, 300 properties, and we have 25 who've engaged. One of the reasons we've heard that properties don't engage is they say, well, nobody's asking for EV charging. And that's probably the most common reason that multifamily property owners aren't engaging. So we're really working to encourage tenants to ask their property managers for this. When we looked at EV registration statistics, we saw that over 90% of EVs are registered to single-family homeowners. And obviously there's a much higher percentage of our residents who are in MUDs. It's like 40%. So there's really an imbalance here, and just a challenge making charging available in in a multifamily property setting. And we have some new programs that we're starting up that are going to be very focused on this problem, and that will be providing additional funding. But this particular program, Future Fit Assist EV Charging, is really about helping property managers get started. Because otherwise, it's hard for them to know what to do. So we're trying to meet
It's interesting.
them.
I read out on Reuters, it was a great report, an overview of a model that somebody did that showed that without enough chargers, the uptick of electric, a buy-in of electric cars will actually hit a wall because they can't get them charged, and that will actually reverse the trend of buying electric cars. So you really have to proactively get out there and make sure that there are enough chargers before the wave comes, so that the wave can actually continue. So really interesting model. It's got some issues, but really interesting model. But yeah, this is great. Yeah, good, proactive.
Tony, you want to talk about permitting?
Of course. Yeah, and Commissioner Lingle, very interesting point, and it's a real challenge because there's a cost to building publicly accessible chargers. There's a cost to owning them, a monthly cost, and so not having too many, so that and having enough so that you have a plausible system is important. Certainly, there's a lot of private sector development which will really be key in terms of the car manufacturers contracting and building out their charging networks to make road trips and other things available. That last program Don was referring to on the multifamily, I can just add a couple little details. One, it's a $2 million boost to that effort, and half of that money is set aside theoretically for direct install programs, so could assist property owners and property managers directly in a program where they wouldn't have to necessarily do much work at all and could wind up with chargers at their development, which would be really wonderful for the tenants, and that'll enable us to see if that changes the EV ownership in that complex, as we would hope it might. On the permit simplification, the board last week, thank you, Board Member Chu, approved a $3 million addition for permit simplification efforts. These are going to start with a focus on solar and battery installations, primarily in single family homes, and are going to migrate into other areas. Similar, we already heard tonight about some of the challenges of putting in a heat pump water heater. Certainly there's a smaller challenge for the installation of a heat pump when it comes to space heating. If you have an air conditioner, that's a pretty simple thing. But we're going to be working with the permitting entities throughout our service territory on educating them and assisting them by providing either training or software or what have you to simplify all the permitting associated with all these electrification initiatives that are good for our folks and good for the planet.
Nice. Thank you.
All right.
Oh,
There's a hand raised, Don.
Oh,
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry, I missed that.
Sorry, this is Vikas. I have an additional question. So in terms of vehicle to grid infrastructure, right? I mean, it's good to have the charging stations and everything in there, but from a long-term perspective, the ability to use your car battery for resilience is something that I more recently saw that PG&E announced an initiative for automakers like Ford and so on. Is that something we're emphasizing? And I think it should be emphasized with every charging station that comes in there, the technology there to vehicle to grid, to make sure that when that car is not being used, and if there's a grid outage situation, we can actually power the grid using these EVs would be something to have.
Yeah, we are watching this really, really closely. And if you think a few years down the line here and consider all the storage that's going to be on four wheels and think about how the grid can interact with that, and the benefits of having vehicles in a sense plugged into the built environment, Yeah, it's a really compelling vision. Lots of very near-term issues with things like, gear that's UL approved. I mean, a lot of the providers are still working on that. There's just some, I will say mechanical, quote unquote. It's really electrical, but just some issues like that need to be overcome. And that's not going to take more than another year or two, but we are watching this really closely, and I completely agree that I think if we're 10 years down the line, we will see a lot of that type of capability in place, and we'll need to be encouraging it very, very actively.
And I assume that should be, tying back into that app, for
Yes.
finding the right, you're not only then finding the right time to charge, but you're also finding the right time to discharge as well, right?
Yeah, and so right now the peak on the grid is between 4 in the afternoon and 9 in the evening. It's after the in many cases the sun is set or is setting, and so there's a lot of use on the grid. Could vehicles help supply energy back to their respective homes or office buildings during those hours, and then draw, say, during the sunny times of the day? Yeah, it's a compelling model that makes a lot of sense for electrification, really on a very broad scale. And it's obviously a tremendous resource in terms of the batteries that are in all these vehicles.
It's amazing. I did not realize this, but in this article that I was reading, they said that a full charge battery could power a house at these certain times for a week. Like, wow, that's I didn't realize there was so much energy in those batteries.
Yeah, the number I've typically used, to wow people is 3 days, but that's around the clock.
Right.
Yeah, a full EV battery in a longer range EV just has a remarkable amount of energy in it, and so it's a great point you make, Commissioner Venkot. Super interesting area to look at. Okay, I'll pick up the pace here as we go through the end of these, and maybe we can have questions at the end. But another really important area we've been working on now for multiple years is REACH codes, and 12 of our 13 member agencies adopted new construction REACH codes against the 2019 building code, including the city of Milpitas. And we're going into another round of that in 2022 because the building code has been updated in 2022 to go into effect in 2023. So we'll be working with Director Chua and Elaine and Tony and anyone that will work with us, hopefully this entire commission, on getting another REACH code passed in the city of Milpitas. And we're doing the same thing across our other 12 member agencies. In the process of doing this, we do offer technical assistance for design projects that are looking for assistance with electrification specifically. And we also provide, of course, assistance to cities in terms of the actual code updates that they'll make with their REACH codes. So we have technical support that we've contracted with to help bring that to cities. We
Don, if I could I just want to add
please.
That with this round, we're really hoping that if the REACH code for new development is just kind of a done deal, easy to do, and that we're hoping that the majority of our jurisdictions do make some sort of statement or some sort of policy goal relating to existing buildings and looking at the end of when existing buildings will be relying on natural gas. Thanks.
Yes, important additional to do this year is to begin working on existing buildings. When COVID broke out, we through a vote of our board, committed $5 million to local community energy resilience efforts. And I believe the city of Milpitas was the first city to get projects completed with this money. Maybe I'd turn it over to Elaine or Tony or Commissioner Chua for this, but I believe you have 2 facilities where you've deployed solar plus storage using these grant funds.
We've made good use of a little bit over $700,000 we received from SVCE in addition to city funding. I think most of the commissioners, if you've driven by either the senior center or the community center, have seen the new solar arrays. Those are pretty much completed. We're waiting on the battery installation, and so both the senior center and the community center will have battery storage and microgrid capabilities in case of power loss. So yes, thank you SVCE for contributing to that project. We're super excited, and we will be celebrating that project on April 23rd. We'll have a small celebration ceremony in conjunction with an Earth Day resource fair for the community.
Well, and thank you, Milpitas. I believe you are number 1. I think you're the first one. And which is great, because we can use you as the example when we prod others to take the same steps. So great work here. In terms of upcoming programs, at our most recent board meeting, our board voted to essentially double our program's budget. We had a budget of about $6 million a year over the last several years, and the board voted to portion another $17 million for the next 2 to 3 years, which effectively doubles it to 12 million plus a year. And we're looking to add in additional concierge services to help residential and commercial building owners take the steps to electrify their buildings. And there are a lot of incentives out there, not just from us, but from other parties as well, but to help navigate that broad set of incentive opportunities and to think through where their money can best be spent relative to their particular building. We're also looking at additional appliance rebates, and we'd like to have sort of a menu-based approach where if you commit to deploying, say, a heat pump water heater, you get a certain amount, and then you get additional money if you also deploy a EV charger or a heat pump for space conditioning. Sort of a menu-based set of options that build on each other and add up to a pretty substantial rebate if you're applying it very broadly to your home or building. In doing all of this, we are giving special thought to how we can reach low income and vulnerable populations, how we can provide additional incentives to, say, CARE/FERA customers and the like to make sure that we're including everyone in this transition. There's going to be a lot coming here over the next year, especially given this substantial increase in funding. If you want to stay abreast of what we're doing and you're not coming regularly to our board meetings, let's say, please sign up for our newsletter. It's a good source of information, and it's easy to see how to do that if you come to our website. So that was what we had in terms of formal presentation for tonight, but happy to open it up for questions.
I think there was one comment that came in from one of our participants. If you can bring up the chat.
I think this came up during the discussion on home use of a car battery, I think.
Yeah, I think it was the comment from Felix is that would require a lot of charging to take place at work. No. And so I think that was talking about charging during daylight hours when there's a lot of solar power available. And so that's the question is, normally people charge their cars at home. So in order to charge during daylight hours, it would need to be done at the office.
That's true. And a number of our, large employers in the area have deployed really significant EV charging fleets, but I know that's by no means universal. And one of the reasons that we focused that that EV charging assist program I mentioned on small business and on MUD was that we see small business or smaller office buildings as being important to add EV charging at for this reason. If you can charge during the day, that's absolutely the best time to do it. Any other thoughts or questions out there?
Got a question. Let's see. I'm curious. I'm not an expert in any of this, but especially in wind turbines. I see them up up on the hills and all that, and it's fantastic. I love watching them. But I wonder if there's any other technologies coming to make them as efficient to deploy in a local, urban area, just to feed, something like a microgrid or a battery, along those lines. Is there any trends along those lines?
So we used to have someone on our staff, unfortunately moved back to the East Coast, who worked for a microturbine company for a number of years, and he could have given you a 15-minute answer. But what I understand, and I know enough about this to be dangerous, but is that to really have it pencil out, to have it really be cost effective, it needs to be in a very windy area. And that's why you see it in Altamont, or you see it at down as you go over to Palm Springs in Southern California. There are areas where the wind resource is of a high enough caliber that it makes sense to deploy turbines. And then the other thing is that to really gain efficiency, you have to make them big. And so the new turbines are so much larger than the old ones. And apparently there's a big efficiency gain out of that and a cost effectiveness gain.
Sure.
One of the trends that I think will emerge here is offshore wind in California. And I'm hearing about some very interesting developments on the North Coast, up, sort of north of Mendocino, and then also on the Central Coast. And I think these are, to hear it told, are areas that are especially rich from a wind resource standpoint. And so this notion of floating wind turbine farms is gathering a lot of momentum, and really will probably be where the wind industry goes in California. I'm hearing that a lot of the best sites are pretty tapped out at this point, and that there isn't a whole lot of new wind coming onto the grid in California until these new sites can be developed.
Another question here is, the layout of the grid. As I understand it, you guys are collecting, these renewable energy into the grid, across the grid, from different sites. Is everything for every one of those sites that are, in the local region associated with that site, do they get, is there, an opportunity for microgrid around that site, or must it always come through the full grid?
It could be microgridded, but one of the challenges again is of scale and of matching supply and demand.
Sure.
And the more supply you have plugged into a big grid, the more demand you have plugged into it, the easier it is to do the matching.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
I'm not seeing any other. Well, Director Chua.
Yes,
The
I
question?
just want to thank you both, Don and Tony, for being with us this evening, and it's really great presentation. We always I recommended to have a rebate, I call it incentives center, a page in our website where we can have all of these goodies that the residents can avail of. And thank you so much for your time. And I'll see you next month, both of you. Thank you.
All right.
Thanks
Thank
very
you
much,
all.
Don. Thank
Pleasure.
you, Tony.
Appreciate it.
But
My
thank you.
pleasure.
So long.
Okay, well, that was a very informative presentation. That was good to know that Milpitas scores very high in use of all the good things that Silicon Valley Clean Energy provides for us. So thank you very much. Okay, we can now move on to our next agenda item, which is the election of a vice chair. Because for a couple of months now, we have been without a vice chairperson. So Elaine, would you like to review the procedure for this? Do we need to have a motion to nominate, or can any of our commissioners just go ahead and nominate? And does that nomination need a second?
I believe the process is we will open it for nominations. Commissioners can nominate another commissioner, or they can nominate themselves. The nominated commissioner will need to accept the nomination, and then the commission then will need a motion and a second for the vote to approve that nomination. Again, we are looking for a vice chair to serve through the end of this calendar year. Patty's a great chair, so you do have very good support, and myself and Linda will be here to support the vice chair if needed as well. And so with that, I'll go ahead and just kind of open it up to the floor, and anyone who is interested in nominating another commissioner or nominating themselves, please feel free.
Well, I'd like to go ahead and nominate Commissioner Lingle for the position of vice chair. If I may, Commissioner Lingle, would you be open to that?
Yes, I would. I'd be happy to.
Okay, and do we need the second now, or when we finish the nominations, Elaine?
When we finish the nominations, I would say, is anybody else? Does anybody else have a nomination? Nope. Sounds like we've got one, and we do have Commissioner Lingle, who's been nominated to serve as vice chair and has accepted the nomination. So we can move on. Is there a motion to approve the nomination of Commissioner Lingle to serve as vice chair?
So moved.
Great. Is there a second?
I second.
Thank you, Commissioner Salian. I will go ahead and move on with the roll call vote. So please let me know your vote on this motion for Commissioner Lingle to serve as vice chair. I'll start with Commissioner Lingle.
Aye.
Thank you. Commissioner Martinez.
Aye, I think it'd be a great fit.
Commissioner Salian.
Aye.
Chair Sexton.
Aye.
And Commissioner Binkoff.
Aye.
Thank you. Great. We have a new vice chair. Congratulations,
Wonderful.
Commissioner
Congratulations,
Vice Chair
Commissioner
Lingle.
Thank you.
All right,
Wonderful. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to our next item, and that is our Earth Day planning. So Earth Day is the Milpitas celebration is scheduled for April 23rd, Saturday. And
Yes.
Elaine, do we have the start and end times yet?
Yes, it will start at 10 a.m. on Saturday and end at 1 p.m. At 10 a.m. we'll start with the celebration of the solar and microgrid project, and we're inviting some key figures to speak at that. And then kind of once that ceremony is done, we will move on and just open it up to a community resource fair. NG as well, the project manager for our project, will also be available and will be conducting tours of the solar and the battery system and kind of explaining that to interested residents and attendees. With that, we do have, let's see, for the resource fair, we have confirmed that you all, the Energy Environmental Sustainability Commission, will have a resource table to demonstrate and provide information and giveaways on the advanced power strips. Chair Sexton, did I use the right terminology?
That's right. Yes, the
Okay.
APS.
And then we also will have resource information table for Silicon Valley Clean Energy, Milpitas Sanitation. The city will have an ADU resource table, and then we'll also have a table on our new smart water meter and customer portal and other water conservation tools. We'll have a table sharing information and resources related to recycling and solid waste, and have litter pickup kits available as well. I believe we've got confirmation from the master composters and education program, so they'll have a table. Chair Sexton, I think you confirmed the Green Thumb Gardening Club will be participating. I do want to connect with you offline to confirm what they might need for their table, or if they're bringing everything for some planting activity, so we can coordinate that one offline.
Yes, that sounds good. I haven't been given the name of the person who will be tabling and putting that together yet, but I will request that contact person to make sure that all of the details get worked out.
Great.
And copy you. What I'd like to do is do a sort of an email conversation, which includes you, Elaine, so that everyone is has the same information.
Okay, perfect.
Okay, and one thing on the table for the commission, since we'll be demonstrating the advanced power strip, if we can make sure that it's close to an electrical outlet,
Yes.
that would be great.
Yes, I've got that note, and we actually found, so the event will be in front of the senior center, and then also under the solar panels. We did find kind of one of the islands, landscaped islands in front of the senior center actually has power. So we'll be able to run power close by, or at least put you close to that.
Okay.
With
Sounds
minor,
wonderful.
with just a few extension cords,
Yes,
safely.
yes, and it's safely taped down so
exactly.
no one trips over them.
Exactly. And then we also have confirmation that Valley Water will have an information table with information on drought resources. NG will have a table as well. I think we were looking to and haven't gotten a confirmation on whether or not any local schools or environmental groups want to participate. So I know there were a couple of you all who had some connections and were reaching out.
I'm trying.
Okay.
I get no reply. Let's see. Councilmember Chua, thank you for trying to connect. Let's see. I think we're still looking for a flyer. Do we have a flyer for this in digital form?
Oh,
for the event?
You know what? We're finalizing it right now. At least the community resource fair component of it. So I could send you a summary.
Yeah, that'd be great. Just, a hook. I've reached out to Principal Roja. Yeah, I think it's Rojas. Principal of Milpitas High, vice principal, and the sustainability club there. And I've gotten no reply from anyone. So I need. I think I'll probably just go on by and try and get a little bit of an audience or something like this to see if any of the folks over there are interested in participating. So, yeah, a flyer would be great. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do that. And then we'll also have some of the city's new electric and plug-in electric vehicles on display near the new charging stations that will be located closer to the senior center. So I think there's lots of good things happening. And then we can continue to coordinate specifics via email and offline. So I'll work with both Chair Sexton and Commissioner Lingle and anyone else who's interested.
I do want to.
I think we also need to, for the commissioner table, develop a schedule for how those of you who are part of the demonstration will be staffing that table during those 3 hours.
Well, I'll volunteer to be there for all 3 hours, and it would be great if other commissioners can take 1 hour slots in those 3 hours, and so ideally it would be great to have 2 commissioners at the table at all times, but 3 would be wonderful too.
It turns out my my morning is booked. It's the worst timing, but it is booked. So I can take the noon to 1. I will certainly be there by noon, if not a little earlier.
Can anyone take the 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and the 11 a.m. to noon slot?
I can take the 10 to 11, and if there's a flyer as well, I could circulate that in my son's school. So that would be great.
Will do.
Okay, great.
So I had a question about engagement. There's I've gotten wind of a new company up in I think it's in Berkeley called Sway, who are making plastic bags out of seaweed. And they are biodegradable and nice and strong and all that. How do we, is there like rules of engagement? Can I reach out to them and see if they're interested in perhaps donating a box of bags or something like this for us to distribute? Is that allowed, or I don't know how to go about this?
That's a really interesting question. I think, let me check with our experts in recreation who always get sponsorships for events and things like that. And let me find out the proper process for doing something like that or making such a request, and the proper reporting associated with it.
You bet. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
So to fill in the 11 a.m. slot, we can, I guess, reach out to some of the other, do we have any other commissioners that are not here tonight? I know that we have some vacant slots.
Oh yes, Alternate Commissioner Hogg, so we can shoot an email out.
Okay. All right. Okay, and I'll actually be out of town until that morning, so I'm coming. Actually, I'm cutting my vacation short, 1 day short, in order to come back that early that morning in order to be at the Earth Day celebration. So I'm looking forward to that, because since it was supposed to be scheduled the Saturday before, then I had planned on that date. And
I'm so sorry.
It got changed. Okay, I better, sort of switch things around a bit.
I'm so sorry, Chair.
Okay. Well, these things happen. Dates change.
Let's see. Just to be sure, what is the date? It is the
April 23rd.
Oh, it's been moved. Oh, I didn't realize it was moved. I thought it was the week before.
Yes, we
I'm there.
discussed that.
I'm there the whole time.
Oh, wonderful. Okay, that's great.
I thought it was the week before. Okay, great.
Mayor Sexton, what time slot were you looking to fill? I was also trying to figure out it was the 23rd or 24th. So
Oh.
23rd, what slots do you need?
Well, it's Saturday, the 23rd, and we actually don't have any slots that need to be filled right now. So if you want to come at any time at all, Commissioner Martinez, we would be very welcome. Right now we have 3 people from 10 a.m. to 11, 2 people from 11 a.m. to noon, and then 2 people from noon to 1 p.m. So the ideal times for you to come is sometime between 11 a.m. and 1 p.m. Okay. Great. So Elaine, I think that we have filled out our volunteer sheet.
Great. Okay, I think we're in good shape. We can take the rest of the coordination offline. Thank you.
Okay, that sounds good. Any other comments regarding the Earth Day planning?
It looks like there was one comment that came from Felix about inviting the Sierra Club, the local chapter. So we'll follow up on that.
Okay, yes. And also, I guess, Elaine, when we coordinate offline, we can sort of go through what all your standard outreach avenues that you use. And the, I guess it would be similar to what the Parks and Recreation folks,
Yes, yeah, we're working with Parks, with Recreation staff on promoting it. Once we have the event flyer, we'll start blasting it out through all of their channels, probably closer to the end of March. But yeah, definitely all the email, social media, we'll put flyers up in various locations, and then I think we'll also do an insert into the school districts.
And I don't know if, yes, so yeah, the schools will be great if the school district can help us distribute that, as well as I don't know if our economic development department, they would have contacts at the Milpitas businesses, that we could also distribute that through those methods.
Yes, we can work with them to send it out through their constant contact list.
Okay, great. And do we have the Chamber of Commerce on our list to send a flyer to? Because I do know that the Chamber of Commerce has a weekly email newsletter that they send out. That it would be great if it was included in that.
Yes, I'll make sure they're included.
Okay. Thank you. Great. Any other comments or recommendations? Because really our next, we have 1 month basically left for this, and the next time that this commission meets will be just a few days before the event. So really, by the time we meet next, everything should be completely planned by then. Okay, so we have our timeline. Great. Okay, that takes us to the end of our business items. Do we have any city liaison reports?
Very brief because of time. And I want to welcome Commissioner Vikash. Thank you for joining us, and we need your expertise, and we need you. That's all. What can I say? So thank you so much. And I would like to congratulate Vice Chair Lingo for taking on this task. I know you'll do really well. And thank you all. And I want to thank Tony, Elaine, Linda, and I don't know who's on IT this evening, but who is on IT this evening? IT support.
I believe it's Ron.
It's Ron.
Ron. Thank you, Ron.
You're welcome.
Thank you for making us alive and visible. And And it's going to be really short. I made a commitment. I mean, I got at the table for the open house resource fair for the senior advisory commission. So you have a table if you want to use it, something we can talk about maybe next meeting. And I also got a table for this commission for the ADU workshop, which is happening on April 30th. So something you guys need to talk about as well, maybe on the next meeting. And
Councilmember Achua, what is the date for the
senior resource
Yes.
fair? It's May 7th.
May
And the
7th?
ADU workshop is
April
April
30th?
30th.
Okay.
And those are relevant, your advanced power strip would be good to disseminate that information to them.
Okay.
And one thing that came up at the council meeting last night is the $60,000 grant was approved for the Sustainability Neighbor Education Program. Yay! So
Thank
we
you
have
very much.
money. So we have money. So, and that's all. And I need a flyer too, please, Elaine, when it's ready, because I want to bring it up to council and the rest of my other commissions and board. Thank
Will
you
do.
all for being here this evening.
Thank you very much. And let's see, I thought of one additional item, but I can't. Sorry, I've completely forgotten what I was going to say. There was just one more thing that was in the back of my mind, but it has disappeared. So, and if I do think about it, I'll send whatever the relevant information. Oh, yes, now I remember. Elaine, I believe the city manager has, there was an email that was sent out regarding commission meetings to be transitioning to in-person. So could you review that with us, please?
That was going to be probably the lead topic of my report out. So you all should have received that email from the city manager's office. All of the city commissions will be transitioning back to in-person meetings. And so this will actually be the last Zoom meeting for this commission. The April meeting will be in person in the committee meeting room at City Hall. So I know it's going to be a change for all of us. I haven't seen some of you in real life in a long time, so I do look forward to seeing you in person. I know it's a challenge sometimes, but I think we're all slowly getting back to life post-pandemic and what our new normal is. So please let me know if you have any questions. We're still, preparing ourselves for being back in person for commission meetings.
I agree with you that I really miss the in-person meetings, so that would be really good. Vice Chair Lingle, I congratulate you because of the unusual scheduling for our next meeting, where I changed my vacation. I will not be in town, so you have the privilege of chairing the next meeting.
Right. All right. Okay.
I'll connect
Bear
with
with
you
me,
before
everybody.
I'll connect with you before the meeting and give you a cheat sheet.
Yes, please.
Vice Chair.
Thank you
Councilmember
very
Chua.
much.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't know, Elaine, if you can whip something. Can we get a T-shirt, like a green T-shirt for all the commissioners with the name and the commission? Because that's easy to do. They buy it at Michael's, and I know Anne Marie can do the names. So
Let me
find out.
check in. Let me check in with that, Councilmember Chua, and also on the status of the commission jackets too. So,
But the green one for the Green Day, for the Earth Day.
birthday.
I think that would be good. Thank you.
And I have a suggestion, if it's not possible for T-shirts to be made in that time, or for the budget or whatever, at least the little badges that will take the insert that we could pin on, and,
Okay.
have the city of Milpitas logo on it, and, and the color of the paper can be green, that we can be able to wear a badge with each of our names on it and the commission that we're part of.
Excuse me, Chair. So I have a question over here.
Yes.
So the next meeting, will it still be on Wednesdays, or are we going to change the days?
At this point, the regular meeting of the commission per the charter is Wednesdays at 6. So in order to
Wednesdays.
change the meeting date and time, it would require a change to the charter, which requires city council approval.
Okay.
Right.
All
So
right.
normal date, normal time.
Yes.
No, because as I said,
For
that I have to
Wednesday.
go to church on Wednesdays, in the evening. And that is why I was asking about it.
Okay. Yes, unfortunately, we're kind of stuck with the third Wednesday evening of each month for this particular commission.
Okay.
That's a designated meeting time. So there is a comment or question from Felix. Will the meeting still be broadcasted, and the attendance? So Felix, the meetings are open meetings, so anyone can attend as the meetings at City Hall for the commission meetings. I don't know, we didn't broadcast before, so Elena? Okay, so they won't be broadcasted.
No.
But did we have audio?
There was an audio recording that was for record purposes. I don't think we actually posted the recording. So it will be kind of back to in-person meetings, open to the public, but we will not be broadcasting or having a video, a recording afterwards.
And typically our meetings will have a few members of the public there, so it was always nice to see interested people. So Felix, I do hope that you're able to attend some of those meetings, and I will echo Councilmember Chua's comment, is that please consider applying for one of the open positions for our commission. Thank you.
And then I only have, I think, a few more announcements. You heard everything we're working on for Earth Day itself. I did want to share, I think I shared that we were kicking off the Lawn Bus Milpitas program. That was the new program in partnership with Our City Forests and Valley Water, where Our City Forests will be doing lawn conversions for residents. We have the first conversion scheduled for tomorrow and Friday. So they will be out busting a lawn in Milpitas, and so we'll share information and pictures about that new project. So I'm excited to see that one moving forward. And I think actually that's the only update I have, unless Tony had any other updates.
Tony?
No updates for me, just happy to be the only Tony left on this call right now.
That's right. We're a little confused with two Tonys being around. That's great. So yes, removing lawns and replacing them with low water requirements yards is just wonderful. I'm so glad that more and more people are doing that. I do want to just give one quick update that I'm continuing to work with Councilmember Chua on the video project to come up with a very short, how to use an advanced power strip. And Councilmember Chua was kind enough to introduce me to an intern from UC Santa Cruz that I'm hoping she will be able to work on putting a very short video together that will assist with the advanced power strip distribution project. Okay, are there any other? Yes, Vice Chair Lingle?
Let's see, one more thing, just on the our discussions about Earth Day earlier, we were talking about possibly doing a tree planting, I don't know, session the weekend after or the weekend before. Did that ever come together?
We are still finalizing the details for that, but it looks like it is coming together. So we'll have an announcement after I can update Tony.
Sounds good. It's being worked on.
Yes.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, so that sounds like those are all of the items we needed to cover this evening. So thank you very much. We have come to the end of our agenda, and I will call for the meeting to close out. And I hope everyone enjoys the beautiful spring weather that we've been having.
Pray for rain, please.
Maybe
Yes.
water.
We need water.
Yeah.
For sure. Thanks very
Thanks,
much.
everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.